Start.
Hello, I'm Rahul Balike from Mangalore, India. I will now be showing you my first project on the Arduino. Let me explain the components used. This is an infrared sensor which will check whether a train has arrived or not. This is a mini servo which will be acting as a barricade. This push button will be used by the pedestrian when they want to cross. This is the traffic light system which includes a red LED, a green LED, a 7-segment display and a buzzer. I will be explaining the cases which will be enacting, and I will explain what we expect to happen. The first case will be when a train arrives and no pedestrian attempts to cross. So I will be using my hand as a substitute for the train. When I place my hand in front of the infrared sensor, the barricade will close down. When I remove my hand, the barricade must open up. When I place my hand, it means that a train is passing, and when I remove my hand, it means that the train has passed. I will now enact the case. The train has arrived and the barricade closes down. The train has passed and the barricade opens up. The second case we will be enacting is where a pedestrian attempts to cross the road. No train comes during any point of this case. So what we expect to happen is that when I press the button, or when a pedestrian presses the button, a countdown from 9 to 0 will occur. During this time, the barricade will slowly close down. After these 9 seconds, the green light will turn on. There will be a short beeping during this time, and it will happen for 5 seconds. After 5 seconds, the green light will start blinking for the next 3 seconds, and during these 3 seconds, the beeping will become more frequent. After this, the green light turns off and it turns into a red light. During this, the barricade will open up and a countdown from 9 to 0 will occur. This countdown is known as the buffer period, and it is to ensure that there is a minimum gap of 9 seconds between any two pedestrian crossings. I will now enact the case. The pedestrian presses the button and the countdown begins. Observe that the barricade is slowly closing down. Once the countdown hits 0, the green light is on. The barricade has opened up and the buffer period starts. The third case is when a pedestrian attempts to cross during the buffer stage. That is, someone presses the button during the buffer stage. What we expect is that there will be no immediate reaction by the system. The system will wait until the buffer stage is over before starting the countdown again and closing down the barricade. I will show the process now. This is the first pedestrian crossing. This is the buffer stage, and I will press the button now. There is no immediate reaction. The buffer stage is over and the barricade begins to close down and go back into the pedestrian crossing. The fourth case is where a pedestrian attempts to cross while the train is crossing. So the train will be passing by, that is, I will be placing my hand in front of the infrared sensor. I will press the button while this is happening. What we expect to happen is that there is no immediate reaction. But when the train passes, that is when I remove my hand, it will immediately transition into the pedestrian crossing. There will be no countdown and it will immediately be a green light for pedestrians to cross as the barricade has already closed down. I will now enact the scenario. The train has arrived and the barricade has closed down. I will press the button. There is no reaction. It has immediately gone into the pedestrian's crossing after I remove my hand. The fifth case is where a train arrives during the pedestrian crossing. So now there are two cases within this one. The first case is where the train arrives during the countdown, and the second case is where the train arrives during the green light. So now if the train arrives during the countdown, the barricade will immediately close down and there will be no other reaction. But the pedestrian crossing would have been cancelled. That is, you will have to press the button again if you want to cross. However, if the train arrives during the green light, the green light will immediately turn into a red light and there will be a beep of 2 seconds. So this is a warning beep which will be telling the pedestrians to run across as a train is arriving. I will now enact the scenario. A pedestrian attempts to cross and a train arrives. As you have seen, the barricade immediately closes down and the countdown is stopped. The barricade opens up, but it does not go back into a pedestrian crossing. I will now enact the second scenario within this. The barricade slowly closes down and a train does not arrive during the countdown. But a train arrives now. As you have heard, there is a warning beep and it immediately goes into the red light. I will now be showing a few miscellaneous cases. So now, let us say that a pedestrian presses the button during the pedestrian crossing. That is, when the countdown is happening or when a green light is on. What happens? Nothing. There is no reaction. The pedestrian crossing does not get extended, nor does the system even react to this button pressing. I will now enact this scenario. I will press the button again, but there is no reaction. As you have seen, there is no reaction. That brings us to the end of this Arduino case project. I hope you have enjoyed this.